We are here at Cupboard of Health with Debby, and Debby is going to discuss with us about why health is important to us, especially at this era of COVID-19. Debby will start firing away. Please, can you tell us what made you open a health food store?
I decided to open a health food store when I saw that most of what was available to people in the way of food and stuff, if you like, to keep them healthy wasn't really doing so, I felt. I also enjoy retail, so combining the aspects of retail business with wanting to genuinely help people to boost and maintain their health in natural ways, which were maybe in the main not available to them in the mainstream stores, meant that I took the opportunity when premises came up in, when was it, 2008, to have a go. So I'm still here, still trading.
Fantastic. So that is grand. So there was no particular when you were a teenager, was health at the forefront of your everyday routine in terms of eating healthy foods, organic diet, etc., instead of the fast foods like McDonald's?
No. McDonald's wasn't at the forefront either, but certainly not healthy eating either. Yeah.
Okay. So you went really, into health when you were younger. So when did you, like, for example, were you, I don't know, mid-20s when you decided to start on a healthier living?
Probably late 20s when or I think 30 when I decided that I wanted to have children, and I thought, well, there's no point in doing so if I'm not healthy. So I sought to get myself into the best possible state of health prior to having children.
Excellent. And also the Cupboard of Health is like an interesting name, really, for a store. So do you have like a hidden meaning behind them? Is there an acronym or something?
No, it was merely that we were travelling, I think, up to Norfolk on the way to a holiday, and I was talking to my son and my daughter about trying to come up with a name. No, I can't remember if I thought of the name or my daughter did. I think my daughter took the name. She certainly came up with the logo and in a nice script writing. So I took that one up. Yes.
Excellent.
The main thing was because I think it maybe was. As I say, I can't remember which of us thought of it, but because the store was extremely small at the time, I felt that it would imply that whilst we were small, there was a whole lot to be discovered within it.
Oh, that's an interesting concept. So Debby, with the health foods that you stock up in the Cupboard of Health, how do you decide which health foods to stock up? For example, is there a particular brand name of health food company that you follow?
Not just one. I think, as far as possible, maintain an organic approach and use, if wherever possible, perhaps smaller British companies that are consistent in their approach. So I like to support companies that are not huge, if at all possible. So the question was, remind me again?
For example, the products that you stock here, do you make sure that they are organic or health and not over-processed?
As unadulterated as possible, as near to how they grew
as
possible.
Natural.
Yeah, absolutely organic as far as possible.
Fantastic. And also, last but not least, the staff in your health food show, I see you have lovely Charlie. When you hired them, did they get a particular training, or for example, you were looking for individuals that shared your passion for healthy living?
Both. So some of the staff had previously worked in an independent health store in Winchester, so they were very experienced, and others who came along when we needed to add staff to the team. They expressed great interest in health, and that was important, to put across with passion what we believe in.
That's excellent. Also in 2020, I published a book titled Nature Heals. In this book, I specified that eating a healthy diet may support an individual suffering from mild depression or anxiety. Would you agree that this is the fact?
Yes, absolutely. The more you can support the health of your body, the better. When it comes to something like mental functioning and things like depression and anxiety, maintaining your digestive tract, in particular the lower digestive tract with the bowel, the gut, has been shown, and I've discovered over the years, to be incredibly important, because there is a what they call the gut-brain axis, which allows you to be positive and keep away from those conditions as far as possible, like depression and anxiety. So a healthy gut bacterial balance is key, not just to immunity but also to mental health, I feel. And one reason why we maybe do have a bit of an epidemic of depression and anxiety and the like is because processed foods and a lot of sugar and refined carbohydrates, as well as stress, have served to compromise and in some cases destroy the health of people's guts, and because of this gut-brain axis that I referred to earlier, hence it has an effect on mental health.
That's absolutely amazing. So your gut, as you're saying, and your brain are pretty much connected. So what you eat then affects what your brain functions are.
Absolutely, it's true. You are what you eat.
That's what they say. That's amazing. So is there, for example, foods that you would recommend for people that might perhaps come to your shop and say, I think I've got stress, or I'm suffering from anxiety, or...
Well, certainly, as I said, keeping things like refined sugars and refined carbohydrates down, and then maybe having a go with foods that are fermented, amongst which are things like sauerkrauts and yogurts, and fermented tea drinks like kombucha or kefirs, can be really useful in helping to repopulate the gut with what we call friendly bacteria, maybe with a few supplements on top like probiotics, particularly if you've been on a lot of antibiotics. That can kind of wipe it all out, so you need to recharge it, and it'll help you get back on the road.
Amazing. And also, for example, I think that will answer for anyone who hasn't got a mental health condition, that by keeping their gut healthy, they will then not have any issues.
Well, you can never guarantee these things, but certainly I have found it personally a very useful way of maintaining my health, I believe.
Fantastic, thank you. And also, I noticed that behind you, you stock vitamins, supplements, and so on. Are these mainly organic vitamins, or are they also pharmaceutical vitamins as well?
Well, certainly none of it comes from any sort of pharmaceutical company. The ownership of some companies has a tendency to change, and so you've got to keep an eye on who owns which company these days. So some brands I've chosen not to continue with, depending on who's taken it over, which has unfortunately occurred lately. Mm-hmm. I try and stay with smaller brands that are British, and certainly where organic is possible, I'll do organic.
Fantastic. Also on the next condition there. I noticed the other day when a customer came into the shop, you didn't have a particular product that they wanted in particular, and you were kind enough to say that you will purchase this product. Is that like a normal thing that cupboard for health? I mean, health cupboard?
Cupboard of health, yes.
Cupboard of health actually provides for its customers. Like you go more forward. What's the word? You go to the extended thing to make sure your customer gets what they need.
That's the general idea. It's impossible to be able to stock every single variety and dosage of every supplement, or food for that matter, because in the space available. So yes, we make it a standard procedure that we will offer to order in where possible what the customer wants, and likewise we will tailor our range if we realise that something is not suitable for this locality or something is particularly popular. We'll keep altering our range of products to suit what people want.
Oh, that's amazing. And also, Debbie, when you started your journey into health food, did you kind of train yourself in dietitian or nutritionist, or do you have that background?
I have no formal qualifications, and I always tell people that when they ask for what they call advice.
Yeah.
My learning has largely been on the job.
Yeah.
I did begin a course many years ago, 10 years ago, with an outfit that went out of business in terms of nutritional therapy, so that never got anywhere. But I've done a lot of learning on the job, and it's always a journey when people ask a particular question that I'm not sure about, and it's always really interesting to investigate together with the customer, do reading up on it, and I'm learning every day.
When your customers come into the cupboard of health, which you were just mentioning there, and they're asking for advice and all that, is this a free advice or do you normally charge?
Well, I'm not a practitioner, so I don't charge. We do have a nutritional therapist who works alongside us who can provide paid for services which are much more individually based, should the customer be interested, and we'll direct him or her towards the nutritional therapist.
It says sprouted porridge.
Yeah.
What's mean sprouted? What's the sprouted?
Okay. Literally, you take a grain, you let it sprout, give it water and warmth or whatever, in the right conditions, as if it was going to grow into a new plant. But then, before it's actually kind of progressed very much, you dry it out. So it's because when a grain sprouts, okay, let me go a step back. An unsprouted grain or seed or nut, it's got a lot of defences around it because it doesn't want to be eaten or anything. So it's got either a shell or some nutritional, not poison, but something that's not so good about it alongside what's good inside of it, that dissuades anything from eating it. And when you actually then either ferment or particularly in this case sprout it, you are breaking those defences down, because then it's got the conditions. It's here it's great conditions, I can grow, and the nutritional profile of it is boosted hugely, and it also hasn't got what are called the anti-nutrient properties of an unsprouted grain. So it means that you've got more nutrients and you can absorb them more easily.
Wow. And that's why you said vegan, or I mean, you
say
said
vegan.
No. Sorry, I read on it said gluten-free. Sorry.
Oh well, things can be gluten-free, or you can sprout a wheat grain, and that'll have some gluten in. But nothing. It's independent of that. So if you look up a website called, I'm trying to think what it's called. It's the website of Weston A. Price, Weston A. Price. I think it's called Traditional. I'm trying to remember something or other. It's a very interesting mine of information about the dangers of things like soy, and why it's good to ferment and sprout. Looking at traditional ways of preparing food.
Maybe it's now 18 months since the COVID pandemic started, what advice would you give in terms of health food products that we can start making part of our regular diet in order to keep ourselves healthy?
A whole food diet, organic diet as far as possible, incorporating fermented foods and certain supplements. So there is a fair consensus really widely that boosting your vitamin C and D intake, your zinc, your quercetin, your probiotics, and quite a few other things, I won't bore you with the whole list, can be extremely beneficial in maintaining immunity and general health.
Last words.
Without your health, you have nothing really, I think, and I think it should be a priority for everyone. Always ask questions about what's out there in the media, and maintain a good friendship circle. You need your supportive friends around you as far as possible. Look after yourself and all those loved ones around you.
Amazing. And also, where can people find you? For example, if they don't live in Winchester or aware of you, your website, has it got all the information?
Yes, we've got cupboardofhealth.co.uk. We're on, I believe, from my recollection, Facebook and Instagram, thank you. On the website there we do regular blogs on health issues. I think there's one coming up next month on immunity and, all sorts of things. Yeah.
So who does the blog? You?
Charlie does it alongside an external partner.